Hello guys, welcome back. Here is another reaction video. This time we're going to be doing the 10 funniest German idioms. And of course this is another video from Feli from Germany. I'm not sure how she pronounces her name, if it's Feli or Feli. I would say that it's short for Felicity. But anyway, go over to her channel. She's got some really interesting videos. She does some really great stuff. Go over there, like and subscribe. Also, if you like these videos, like and subscribe. That helps the algorithm with my channel. And let's get stuck into it. Idioms are hard in any language. As an English teacher, I try to teach idioms to my students, and a lot of languages, unless you've heard the idiom before and you've heard it in context, it's extremely difficult to even understand what they're all about. It's very similar to pronunciation in English, that if you haven't seen the word before, it's sometimes difficult to even pronounce a word correctly. So I would imagine this is going to be a difficult video for me, but let's get stuck into it and see what she has to say.
The first one is something that's used all the time, auf jemanden stehen, which in English would probably be to stand on someone or to stand onto someone. It's kind of hard to translate grammar-wise.
Okay, so to stand on someone. So being an idiom, it's not going to be literal. So my first impression would be to offend someone, or maybe to put someone down, to stand on someone. But of course it's an idiom, so it's not going to mean that. So to stand by someone. Alright, so I'll just guess, like all these are going to be guesses. I'd say it means to support someone in whatever endeavor they're doing.
But it means having a crush on someone or being into someone. As in, ich stehe auf meinen Nachbarn. I have a crush on my neighbor. You can also use it in regards to something that isn't a person, like something you enjoy, as in, ich stehe total auf Schokofrüchte. I'm totally into chocolate-covered fruit, which in my case is 100% true, by the way. I've just recently thought about this one because it's part of the title of a new German podcast by the Kaulitz twins from the German band Tokyo Hotel. They were really big in the mid-2000s, and the idiom is seinen Senf dazugeben. So, to add your mustard to it, which in
Alright, so to add your mustard to it. Alright, so that one's a little bit, that would automatically, it's like adding your own idea or adding your own spin on something. I'm just trying to think of an English idiom like that involving food. To add your mustard to it. I can't think of one in English, but so yeah, just to add your own ideas.
English would translate to the idiom to give your 2 cents or to give your 2 cents worth. For example, if you're having an argument with a friend and your sibling is around too and without being asked tells you their opinion.
I just can't think of one that's food related in English. You know, an idiom about adding your opinion in a food-based one? Like maybe cream on top? But cream on top means like a benefit, doesn't it? Yeah.
About the situation, you might say, musst du jetzt auch noch deinen Senf dazugeben? Do you have to add your mustard to it too? Or you can say something like, der muss echt immer seinen Senf dazugeben. He really can't resist always adding his mustard to it too. According to my research, the idiom goes back to the 17th century when mustard was considered very valuable and restaurant owners often added a little bit of mustard to all of their dishes to make them seem more expensive, even when it wasn't actually a good fit. So just like they added mustard to everything without being asked, we use the expression when people share their opinion without being asked. If you've ever
All right, so that's again, I really like this woman. She always has like a history lesson to a lot of her videos, which is also good. But yeah, same in English. A lot of idioms actually, come from a particular situation and or a particular thing, a particular job, particular area. So you can kind of see that one. But yeah, adding something, add your mustard to it. But I like the fact that you can also use it in a negative as well. So you can say he always adds mustard to something, which would be a negative derogative.
Ever listen to Josh's in my podcast? You definitely know this one. Ich verstehe nur Bahnhof. I only understand train station.
I only understand train station. Maybe I only understand one way to do something. But it could also mean that I only understand one type of language or one type of talking. All right, I'm going to go. I only understand one way to do something.
Meaning, I don't understand a word. I'm lost. The closest equivalent in English regarding an idiom would probably be, it's all Greek to me. The idiom was popularized in the 1920s and most likely goes back to the end of...
Well, everyone, that's the first, if you learn any languages, the first thing you learn is where is the train station or where is the bus station. So you're lost. So now that kind of makes sense.
World War I, when the soldiers were just ready to go home, and instead of any orders, they just wanted to hear the word train station, because that meant being discharged and going home. Today, it's a lighthearted and funny way of saying that you don't understand anything or just can't follow what the other person is saying. And even though it's a funny idiom, I think most of us would probably rather not be in a situation where we have to say that, especially being lost because of a language barrier isn't fun, but sound kind of disgusting at first, but it really just means that the other person doesn't just...
So pulling every word out of the nose. So I would say an equivalent in English would be picking someone's brain. Pulling every word out of the nose. Oh, hang on. So it might be like we say pulling things out of our arse. Pulling every word out of the nose. Okay, I'm changing. I thought at first when I first read it, I thought, well, you're picking someone's brain, but it might be they're making up stories.
Tell you everything at once, but you have to ask for every single piece of information. As in, ich musste ihm jedes Wort aus der Nase ziehen. I had to pull every word out of his nose. Or even more disgusting, like I just used it in the example, ich musste ihm alles aus der Nase ziehen. I had to pull everything out of his nose. In English, you would probably say pulling or dragging every word out of someone's mouth. Or you could also use the idiom that getting them to tell the whole story was like pulling teeth. The German idiom probably goes back to a time when people believed that diseases were caused by demonic worms in the patient's head. So quacks back then pretended to heal them by making it look like they were pulling worms out of their noses. The next sound a little morbid, but I think it's also funny. Klappe zu, Affe tot. Lid closed, monkey dead.
Lid closed, monkey dead. Close your brain. If you don't think about something, you'll put yourself in a bad situation. Lid closed, monkey dead. Because isn't that like a monkey trap where if you put an apple in a box and the monkey holds onto the apple, it'll get caught. It won't release the apple. Lid closed, monkey dead. I'll say if you don't think about something, you're in a bad situation.
As in, nein, der Fernseher wird ausgemacht jetzt. Klappe zu, Affe tot. No, we'll turn the TV off now. Lid closed, monkey dead. Which basically just means end of discussion or end of story. And it apparently goes back to old circus days when they had a trained monkey in a box at the box office to attract visitors. And if the monkey died, the lid stayed closed. Let's get to a few food-related idioms. We actually have a lot of those in German. Numerous idioms even just related to sausages. I know, pretty cliche. Now, one of the sausage-related idioms is this one, which I find especially cute.
Offended liverwurst. Alright, so in English, a sausage can be a stupid person. So maybe an offended liverwurst is someone who is offended easily.
Spiel doch nicht die beleidigte Leberwurst. Or, jetzt sei doch nicht so eine beleidigte Leberwurst. Don't play the insulted/offended liverwurst. Or, don't be such an offended liverwurst. Liverwurst or liver sausage is, as the name suggests, a sausage that's mainly made from a pig's or calf's liver, and it's pretty common in Germany and other parts of Europe. I just pronounced it two different ways in German. You can either say Leberwurst, which would be the more standard pronunciation, or in Bavaria, we usually tend to say Leberwurst. So like, we just make it an sh sound instead of the s, Leberwurst. And your typical liverwurst is spreadable, so it's soft. The idiom is usually used for people that are offended by something that others don't consider very offensive, so they kind of overreact in a way. I'm not
Karen.
sure if there is a super common equivalent for this in English. I've heard the term being a sensitive Sally before, and when I googled it, it also said that being a sorehead would work. Never heard that before though. Now the idiom probably
Could be a sourpuss. Sourpuss.
doesn't even go back to the sausage itself, but rather just the organ of the liver, because back in the Middle Ages, people believed that the liver was closely connected to a person's mood and temperament. The sausage part was probably added later on. This one is pretty simple, but I always find it to be such a cute phrase. Glaubst du, es stimmt, dass Amerikaner mit dem Auto zum Briefkasten fahren? Nee, das ist doch Käse. Do you think it's true that Americans drive their cars to the mailbox? Nah, that's cheese. Or
Alright, so that one's a lot easier because you got the context then in a conversation, so that's cheese. That's not true. That's just a fallacy, or that's just a stereotype or something like that. Even Americans say this one. You know, I've seen movies where they drive their car to the to their mailbox just to get their mail. So that's pretty common. So that's cheese. That's probably in English we'd say that's ham. So yeah, it's not true. It's just a stereotype.
weißt du noch dieses super schöne Kleid, was ich letztes Wochenende anhatte? Meine
Das
Katze ist
ist
heute in meinen
Katze.
Schrank gekommen und hat ein Loch eingerissen. Ach nee, so ein Käse. Remember that really nice dress I wore last weekend? My cat got into my closet today and tore a hole into it. Oh no, such a cheese. I mean, you can't tell me that that's not a million times cuter than saying so ein Scheiß. That's bullshit instead. This goes back to a time when cheese was a very
Okay, so the second example, she used a different context then. So you can also use it as though that's bullshit, as in that's a bad thing that's happened. Alright, yeah, so in English we'd say bullshit the same way. You can have a positive or a negative connotation. So if someone said something to you that you think is untrue, you just say that's bullshit. But if you said, I lost my job because of someone else's problem, you can say, oh, that's bullshit, which it means that that's wrong. Not wrong what you've done, but wrong, the situation is wrong. But yeah, I'd say that's ham would be
common
English.
food and therefore was used as a symbol for something of low value. Ich hab doch gesagt, du sollst dein Zimmer aufräumen. Hier sieht's ja aus wie bei Hempels unterm Sofa. I told you to clean up your room. It looks like underneath the Hempels sofa here. Who are the Hempels?
Alright, so like underneath the Hempel's sofa. Alright, so that obviously that's a derogative term. Hempels is a person, family. So it's messy. So So it's a messy place. Again, context helps. Okay, I have no idea why they would say hempels. Or, you know, obviously it's a stereotype again of a particular type of family. Alright, so underneath a hempel sofa would be messy or dirty. We, in English idioms, we tend to blame the Dutch for some reason. Alright, or the French. So, an example is if you're hungover, you could say that you've got a Frenchman living in your head. Also, sometimes Chinese, you could say something that looks like a Chinese laundry. I can't think of where a name or a surname is used. One that's common in Australia is it looks like a mad woman's shit, which means that everything is all over the place or messy.
No clue, but apparently they're not very clean because this idiom is used to express that something is very messy. In English, you could say that something looks like a pigsty, it looks like...
Pigsty, really? Not a pigsty. Pigsty. Yeah, we say that one, pigsty.
It was hit by a bomb, or simply that it's a mess. Good morning, sunshine! Please stop screaming. I have such a bad male cat from the party last night. The German idiom is einen Kater haben, so having a male cat.
Alright, so yeah, well here we go. I was just talking about being hungover. So a male cat, having a male cat. We say, what would be, I wonder what the German for a tomcat is. Alright, but you would say that you're hungover, like I just said, Frenchman living in your head. And funny enough that if you are hungover and your first beer the next day or your first drink the next day, we call hair of the dog. So I wonder if that's the feeling in your mouth, having a male cat in your mouth. It's all furry.
Or a tomcat. And you probably guessed it, it means having a hangover. And no, there's no other way of saying that in German. This is the official expression. Being hungover or having a hangover is having a male cat. And
in English, we also say overhung, just as a different way to say hungover. Okay, I'm overhung.
last but not least, a cute way of saying that you're pissed off. Das geht mir echt auf den Keks. That really goes me on the cookie. Or that really goes on my cookie. Depends on how.
To go someone on the cookie. Alright, if she didn't say that that meant pissed off, I wouldn't have got that one. To go someone on the cookie. And isn't cookie a Dutch word? To go someone on the cookie. Yeah, I would never have got that one until she said pissed off.
How you want to translate it. It basically means to get on someone's nerves. You can also say jemandem auf die Nerven gehen in German, so actually including the word nerves, but the version with the cookie definitely makes it sound.
So if she changed that to get someone on the cookie, well, that might have been different. So maybe she just had a grammatical error there. Instead of saying to go someone, is to get someone. But she's obviously doing a direct translation, or as close as possible.
A little bit nicer. It's not quite clear where this idiom comes from, but it's still relatively new apparently, and you may have heard it before on the YouTube channel Wanted Adventure because the host, Dana Newman, has actually written a book called You Go Me on the Cookie, so check that out or check out the channel if you want to.
Alright, there we go again. So, I think I did alright then. I maybe got 50% of them. So I was, did a little bit better than what I thought. And yeah, so some good stuff. I really like idioms. I particularly like the history behind idioms. And yeah, I might do a couple more of these videos. So if you like the reaction, please like and subscribe. It's always fun doing these German videos. It's something that I'm interested in. Also the language. Also, don't forget to go to this lady's channel. Like I said, she's got lots and lots of cool videos about living in America, the difference between America and Germany, all very high entertaining. She's an excellent orator, And I really like the fact that she does all those little history lessons. So anyway, thanks guys. We'll do catch you in the next one. Until then, auf Wiedersehen, and we'll catch you later. Bye bye.